Hello Junior 5, we are going to start our first lesson in Unit 2, which is Circulatory System and Blood Circulation. So if we are going to start to think together, what is a circulatory system? The circulatory system is a system inside our body, like the systems we took in Junior 4, like the digestive system and the respiratory system. But the circulatory system is very, very important for our body. First of all, let's see. The circulatory system consists of what? Which organs is the circulatory system made of? First of all, it's made of the heart. It consists of heart. This is the main organ of the circulatory system. And the blood vessels. What are the blood vessels? They are the thin tubes that fill our body. And blood, which moves in these thin tubes. So again, the circulatory system consists of three things. Number one, the heart, which is the main organ in the circulatory system. Number two are the blood vessels, which carry the blood inside them from the heart to all body parts. And number three is the blood which moves in these blood vessels. We are going to take each one of these in details. But before taking each one of these in details, let's see what is the main function of the circulatory system. Why do I have the circulatory system in my body? First of all, the circulatory system, as we know, it consists of the heart, which we always feel it pumping inside our body. When this heart pumps inside our body, it pushes the blood in the blood vessels to be passed all over the body. And as we know, our body is made of cells, very tiny things which are called cells that we took also in Junior 4. And these cells are living, so they need to get food and oxygen. What is the job of the circulatory system and why it's important? Because it is the system that passes the food that is digested by the digestive system and the oxygen that enters the body through the respiratory system. This system carries all these things, oxygen, food, and the water, to every body cell. Again, we said before that our body is made of cells and that we have the digested food in the digestive system, and the respiratory system takes the oxygen from the air into our body. And then what happens? In what do we use this digested food and the oxygen? We take it from the digestive system and from the respiratory system, and we pass it to every cell in the body. Who is responsible for passing or transporting these things to every cell in the body? It is the circulatory system. Especially, it's the blood who passes these things. And that's why sometimes we can call the blood, it's like the taxi of the system. Of course, we don't say it's a taxi. I'm just saying this just to understand it just more. Yani if I'm in a place and I want to go to another place, what will I ride? I will ride a car or a taxi to take me to the other place. This is the same idea. I have the digested food in the digestive system and I have the oxygen in the respiratory system. They need someone to carry them and pass them to every cell. Who does this? It's the blood. And that's why sometimes I can just give it a name just to remember it when you are studying, that the blood is like the taxi that carries the things from one place to another place. So the first job of the circulatory system, it is to transport the digested food and the oxygen and the water to all body cells, because as we know, the cells are living and they need food and oxygen. Okay, the second job, it's similar, but we don't transport the food. No, we know that when the food enters the cell with the oxygen, there are wastes that are produced from the cell, such as carbon dioxide, as we took also in the respiratory system. So when I come with the blood carrying the food and the oxygen to the cells, I give the cells the food and the oxygen, and I carry away or take away the wastes from the cell, like the carbon dioxide, and there are many other wastes that we are going to take later on in the next lesson. And we will carry the rest of the wastes and go away from the cell. So this is job number two. it transports the wastes that are formed inside the cell to get rid of it, which means to remove it outside my body or away from the cell. Number 3, it helps in maintaining the body health, which means that when my circulatory system is working properly, which means that when my heart is pumping properly and the blood is moving in every blood vessel in my body properly, this means that my body health all in all will be very good. So if the circulatory system is working well, my whole body health will be maintained. Maintained means that I will keep it healthy, it will remain healthy, because the oxygen and the food is reaching each cell in my body. So again, I have 3 functions for the circulatory system. Function number 1 is that it transports the digested food and oxygen and water to all body cells. Number 2, it transports the wastes that are formed inside the cells to get rid of it. Number 3, it helps in maintaining, which means keeping the body health. Okay, now let's start to take each organ in details. Number 1, the heart. First of all, the heart is made of muscles, so I call it's a muscular organ. Why it's muscular? Because the job of the heart, as we said before, is to pump the blood. You feel it, it's always pumping inside your body. Pumping means it's pushing, and to push means that it needs to elasticity, it needs to relax and contract. So to do this, it has to be made of muscles. That's why I say it's a muscular organ. And also it's hollow from inside. What's the meaning of hollow from inside? Which means that if I take any heart and I open it from inside, I will find that it's empty from inside. It has spaces inside. It's not filled from inside. Why is it empty from inside? Of course, to be able to take the blood in it. Because if it's filled from inside with muscles, because we said it's a muscular organ, so if it's filled from inside also with muscles, the blood can't enter inside it. So I need it to be hollow, which means empty from inside, to be able to enter the blood in it and push it out. And you are going to understand this much more when we take the blood circulation. So let's continue. So as we said, the heart is a hollow muscular organ. It has the same size of your fist, as you can see in the picture. I can hold it in my hand. It has the same size of my fist. Even if I close my hands all over together, my fingers together, this is my fist, the upper part of the hand. When I close all my fingers together, this is the fist. So my heart is the same size of my fist, and your heart is the same size of your fist. Okay. Number 3, it is located within the chest cavity between the 2 lungs. So again, as we know, the heart is in our body, is divided into 2 parts. Upper part, which starts from the bone in the shoulder until the last bone in our rib cage. Okay, this is the chest cavity. Below this part, starting from the last bone in the rib cage until the beginning of my legs, this is called the abdominal cavity. So of course, if I ask you where is the heart, you all know that it's in the upper part of the body, not the lower part. This means that the heart is located in the chest cavity, and its place exactly is between the 2 lungs. So again, it's located within the chest cavity between the 2 lungs. And as I said, when I open the heart from inside, I will find that the heart consists of 4 rooms. It consists of 4 rooms or chambers, which are always full of blood and connected with blood vessels. What does this mean? I said before, when I open the heart from inside, I will find that it's hollow, it's empty from inside. But this empty space, it's not all open on each other. No. First of all, when I open the heart from inside, I will find that the heart has 2 sides, a right hand side and a left hand side. So again, I will find that the heart has 2 sides, a right hand side and a left hand side. and these two sides are separated by a wall. So again, the heart has two sides, left and right, and these sides are separated by a wall. And I will find that each side is divided into two rooms. So all the heart consists of 4 rooms or 4 chambers, which are always full of blood. Let's see it in the picture in the next page. When I look here, I will find that the heart, as you can see, it's hollow from inside, it's empty, separated by a wall. I have two sides. I have the right side and I have the left side. And as we said, the heart, when I look at it, I will put where I put my left hand, this is the right side, and where I put my right hand, this is the left side. This means that when I'm looking at the heart in the picture in front of me, I will make the left and the right hand opposite to my hand. Where my right hand is the left side. Where my left hand is the right side of the heart. Okay? So I will find that the right side and the left side are separated by a wall. Why do I have this wall between the right side and the left side? This is to prevent the blood that is in the right side to mix with the blood in the left side. I know that the heart is filled from inside with blood. There is blood that enters in the left side and there's the blood that enters in the right side. I can't mix these two bloods together. They have to be separated from each other, and that's why there is a wall between the right side and the left side. So if I ask you, why do I have a wall separating the right side from the left side? This is because to prevent the blood from mixing in both sides, to prevent the blood from mixing in both sides. Okay. The second thing that I have to know about the heart is that it's from inside consists of 4 chambers. 4 chambers, which means they are 4 rooms. We said before that it's divided into 2 sides. If you concentrate in the picture, you will find that the heart has chamber number 1, chamber number 2, chamber number 3, chamber number 4. So from inside it's divided into 4 chambers. Okay, 4 chambers. 2 upper chambers and 2 lower chambers. 2 upper and 2 lower. The upper chambers, I call them atria. I call the 2 upper chambers atria. And if I'm talking about 1 chamber, so I will call it atrium. So the singular is atrium, the plural is atria. So again, the upper chambers are called atria, the 2 lower chambers are called ventricles. Again, the 2 upper chambers are called atria, the 2 lower chambers are called ventricles. Okay, but there is something that you have to know. Between each chamber, between the upper chamber and the lower chamber in each side, there is something similar to a door, which I call it valve. I call it what? I call it valve. So between each upper chamber and lower chamber, there is a door. This door, I call it valve. Valve. Why do I call it valve, not a wall? Because the wall doesn't open. The wall is always separating the 2 sides. But the valve between the atrium and the ventricle can open and close. Its job is to open and close. Why? To allow the blood to pass from the atrium to the ventricle. And I have to prevent it from returning back, because the blood can't return back in the heart. Inside the heart, the blood moves only in one way. It can't move down and then return up again in the same place. This will make a big problem in my circulatory system if it happens. So that's why God made a valve, which is like a door between the upper chamber and the lower chamber. So again, we said that the heart is hollow from inside. It's divided into 2 sides, left side and right side, which are separated by a wall. Why it's separated by a wall? To prevent the blood from mixing in both sides. So I can't mix the blood in the right side with the left side. And these two sides, or the heart as a whole, has 4 chambers or rooms inside it. These 4 chambers are divided into two upper chambers and 2 lower chambers. The upper chambers are called atria, the lower chambers are called ventricles. And each atrium and ventricle is separated by a valve. Each atrium and ventricle is separated by a valve. Why? To allow the blood to pass from the atrium to the ventricle and prevent it from returning back. So why do I have a valve between the atrium and the ventricle? Because it allows the blood to pass from the atrium to the ventricle and prevents it from returning back. Once the blood passes from the atrium to the ventricle, this valve will close and prevent the blood from returning back. This is all about the heart. Now we are going to start the new part, which is the blood circulation. So we said that the circulatory system, concentrate with me, the circulatory system consists of heart, blood vessels, and blood. Until now, we only took the heart. We are going to take the blood circulation first, and then I'm going to explain the blood vessels and the blood, because this will be much easier after understanding the blood circulation. So until now, we only finished the heart. Let's see the blood circulation together. As you can see, we said that the heart is connected to every part in the body by these thin tubes that we call blood vessels. And as you can see also, the heart, colors are divided into two. There is a part that is in blue and a part that is in red. Okay, concentrate in this part. There is a very important part. Some blood carries oxygen and some blood carries carbon dioxide. As we said in the beginning of the lesson, that the job of the circulatory system is to take the food and the oxygen and pass it to the cells. And when it gives it to the cells, it takes in opposite carbon dioxide and wastes, right? Okay, the blood that carries oxygen, we color it in red color. And the blood that carries carbon dioxide, we color it in blue color. Again, the blood that is in red color, we say that it carries oxygen and we call it oxygenated blood. And the blood that carries carbon dioxide, we color it in blue color and we call it deoxygenated blood. So the red one is oxygenated blood, the blue one is deoxygenated blood, which means that it doesn't carry oxygen. So of course it will carry carbon dioxide. Miss, is the blood in reality divided into two colors, red and blue? No. In reality, all our blood, the one that carries oxygen and the one that carries carbon dioxide, they are all red. But we color them in two colors while explaining to make it much clearer for you to see what happens during the circulation of the blood in the body. We are going to start from the right side of the heart. First of all, when the blood gives the cells oxygen and food, it returns back from the cells, as we said, carrying wastes which include carbon dioxide. So when it's carrying carbon dioxide, we said it's oxygenated or deoxygenated. It is deoxygenated blood. So it will carry the deoxygenated blood from all body cells in the lower part of the body and the upper part of the body, like the brain, as we can see in the picture. So the blood is collected from all the lower part of the body and from all the upper part of the body into the right atrium. Again, we will collect all the blood carrying carbon dioxide, which means it's deoxygenated, and enter it into the right atrium. So it will enter into the right atrium. Once it enters the right atrium, the valve will open, pushing the blood into the right ventricle. So it will push the blood into the right ventricle. and once all the blood enters the right ventricle, the valve will close to prevent the blood from returning back. And then the right ventricle will push the blood through these blood vessels to the lungs. These blood vessels are called pulmonary artery. Are called what? Pulmonary artery. So again, we will collect all the blood from every part in the body carrying carbon dioxide through a vein called through a vein called vena cava, through a vein called vena cava. Okay, but this name is not on you, so you have to know that we will collect all the blood through a vein. What is a vein? It's a type of blood vessel. We have 3 types of blood vessels: veins, arteries, and capillaries. So please concentrate with me, because at the end I want to know the difference between these 3 after we finish the blood circulation. We said that we will collect all the deoxygenated blood from every part in my body through a vein into the right atrium, and then the valve will open, the blood will pass to the right ventricle, and the valve will close, and then the right ventricle will push the blood through the 2 pulmonary artery. Why they are divided into 2? Because they are passing to the lungs. The pulmonary artery carries the blood from the right ventricle to the lungs. What happens inside the lungs is that I will give the lungs the carbon dioxide that I'm carrying, and I will take from it, or I will exchange it with oxygen. This is called gas exchange. I will go to the lungs, from the heart to the lungs, carrying carbon dioxide. I will give the lungs the carbon dioxide, and I will take in return oxygen. So I will exchange gas. This is called gas exchange. When I take oxygen, what happens? The blood will change from blue to red, as you can see. So it became oxygenated blood. Then the blood will return back through a blood vessel, which is called pulmonary vein. Pulmonary vein. So as you can see, the blood vessel that enters the lungs is called pulmonary artery, and the one that comes from the lungs to the heart is called pulmonary vein. So both are called pulmonary, but one is an artery and the other is a vein. So the pulmonary vein will take the oxygenated blood from the lungs back into the heart. Which part of the heart? The right side or the left side? Of course the left side, because the right side carries deoxygenated blood, so I can't enter in it oxygenated blood. So the oxygenated blood will come from the lungs through the pulmonary vein into the left atrium, and then the valve will open, pushing the blood from the left atrium to the left ventricle, and then it will close to prevent the blood from returning back, and then the left ventricle will make a very strong pump of the blood through the biggest blood vessel in our body, which is the aorta, which is an artery. So again, the left ventricle will make the biggest pump, which pushes the blood through the biggest artery in the body, which is called the aorta, and the blood is pushed to all the body cells up in the upper part of our body, which is the brain and the head, and the lower part of the body, which includes all the lower half of my body. This is through an artery or a vein. An artery, it will go to all the body cells, give it the oxygen that it needs, and of course in exchange it will give it the oxygen and take the carbon dioxide, and that's why the red color changes into blue color, and then this blue color will collect all again through a vein and return back to the heart, and so on. This circle keeps on moving through my whole life. I know it's not that easy, so I'm going to repeat it one more time. We said that the blood is collected from all body parts carrying deoxygenated blood. It enters the heart through a vein into the right atrium, and then from the right atrium to the right ventricle, and then the right ventricle will make a small pump which pushes the blood through the pulmonary artery to the lungs. What happens in the lungs is called gas exchange. What does the lungs do? It takes the carbon dioxide and gives the blood oxygen. So the blood will change from deoxygenated into oxygenated. Once it became oxygenated, the blood will return back to the heart through a pulmonary vein, When it enters the heart, it will enter the left side. So it will enter the left atrium, and then from the left atrium to the left ventricle, and then the left ventricle will pump the blood, passing it to every part in my body or to every cell in my body through a big artery which is called aorta. And then the blood will go to all the cells, give it oxygen and take carbon dioxide, and then the blood is collected back into the heart, and so on. The circulation will keep continuing. So, Miss, how much does this circulation happen? This circulation happens with every heart pump. Each time you feel your heart pumps, this circulation happens. Maybe it differs from a person to another. This circulation can happen from 60 to 80 times depending on the person and depending on your heart pump. 60 to 80 times in a minute, not in your whole life. In 1 minute, this can happen from 60 to 80 times. How does it happen that quickly? This is God made it like this. Okay, so there is a small summary for this to make it much easier for you. Imagine with me, starting from this part, we can start the deoxygenated blood from all body cells. As you can see, the blue part is deoxygenated, the red part is oxygenated. The deoxygenated blood from all body cells is collected from the blood through a vein called vena cava, as you can see in the arrow, and enters the right atrium of the heart. And then from the right atrium, it enters into the right ventricle, and then the right ventricle makes a pump, pushing the blood to the lungs through a pulmonary artery. Why do I go to the lungs? I go to the lungs to make gas exchange. Once the gas is exchanged, I give the lungs carbon dioxide and take away oxygen. The pulmonary veins carries this oxygenated blood back to the heart into the left atrium. From the left atrium to the left ventricle, and then the left ventricle makes a strong pump through the biggest artery in our body, which is the aorta. It's called what? It's called aorta, to go to all the body cells. So oxygenated blood is delivered, which means it passed to all body cells. And then what happens in the body cells? Gas exchange between body cells and blood will happen. So the blood will give the cells oxygen and take away carbon dioxide. And then we repeat the circle again, all over again, 1, 2, 3, until the person is dead. His circulation will keep on working. So the blood circulation never stops. When you're eating, when you're playing, when you're sleeping, whatever you are doing, as long as you are alive and your heart is pumping, this blood circulation keeps on working. When does it stop? When the heart stops pumping, which means when the person is dead. This is all about the blood circulation, but I want to ask you a question from what we just took. I want to ask you, we said that we have 2 types. They are actually 3 types of blood vessels, because now we are going to start the blood vessels in details. So there are 3 types of blood vessels. We only, in this circulation, we said 2. I'm going to tell you the third one, but not now. So we said that there are arteries and there are veins in the beginning, right? I want you to think for just a second, what is the difference between the artery and the vein? Why don't I call them all arteries or I call them all veins? Why do I say there are some arteries and veins? Okay, just try to think and I will say it while you are thinking. As you can see, the artery is always coming out of the heart, but the vein is always entering into the heart. Again, if you concentrate a little bit in the circulation of the blood, you will find that always the blood vessel that carries the blood into the heart is a vein, and the blood vessel that carries the blood out of the heart is an artery. Some of you can think, no miss, the vein carries deoxygenated blood, but the artery carries oxygenated blood, right? Some of you will think like this, but I'm going to ask you, we have the pulmonary artery and the pulmonary vein. The pulmonary artery carries deoxygenated blood and the pulmonary vein carries oxygenated blood. This means that not all of them carries the opposite, you understand? So what is the difference? The main difference between an artery and a vein is that all veins are coming from body cells into the heart, and all arteries come out of the heart to all body cells. This is the main difference between them. So this became much clearer when we took the blood circulation. Let's take now the blood vessel in detail. As we said before in the beginning of the lesson, the circulatory system consists of heart, blood vessels, and blood, and we said that we are going to take each one in details. So we took the heart, and then we took the blood circulation in the middle with the heart, and now we are going to take the blood vessels. So as we said, the blood vessels are the thin tubes that connect the heart with every part in my body, right? And we said that they are the things that carry blood in it. But I have the blood vessels in three types. There are three types of blood vessels. I have arteries, as we said, during the blood circulation. I have veins, and I have blood capillaries. This is the new part that we didn't say during the blood circulation. So again, I have the arteries, I have the veins, I have the blood capillaries. As we said, the arteries, they are blood vessels that carry blood from heart to all body parts. And the veins, they are blood vessels that carry blood from all body parts into the heart. So if I'm saying from the heart, this means that they are arteries. To the heart, this means that they are veins. Okay? What are the blood capillaries? Blood capillaries are also blood vessels. It's like a mixture between the arteries and the veins. But why do I call them blood capillaries? Because they differ a little bit from the arteries and veins in their size. They are very thin and they are similar to a network. As you can see in the picture in front of you, there is a big artery which is in red, and then a network in the middle of blood vessels شبه الشبكة كده, and then the vein which is in blue color and it's thick. So I have an artery, a vein, and in the middle I have blood capillaries. What are the blood capillaries? They are something like a network with a very thin wall, and they are all thin. They are very thin. Why they are very thin? Because the blood capillaries enter into the small parts in my body. As we know, the heart comes out of it, the artery. The artery that is coming out of the heart, it's large in size, and then it keeps on moving in my body like it's like a tree that is branching. So the branches of the tree are much thinner than the main branch that is in the floor, right? So these thin branches, I call them blood capillaries. These blood vessels keep on moving in my hands into my fingers. My fingers are much smaller, so they need very small blood vessels. So these small blood vessels are called blood capillaries. Why do I have blood capillaries and why they are thin? Because they enter into the smallest part in my body and they surround the cell. Why they surround the cell? To make it easy to give it the oxygen and take away carbon dioxide, and that's why they are surrounding it. And as we said, my heart pumps from 60 to 80 times in 1 minute. This means that the circulation has to happen very quickly. This means that I have to give oxygen very quickly and take carbon dioxide, and that's why the blood capillary surrounds the cells or the tissues. Why does it surround it? To be able to give oxygen very quickly and take away carbon dioxide. Okay, so again I have 3 types of blood vessels: arteries, blood capillaries, and veins. Arteries, blood vessels that carry blood from heart. Veins, they carry blood to the heart. The blood capillaries are a little bit different, or they are like a mixture between the arteries, or they are like, not a mixture, they are like the connection between the arteries and the veins. It's like a network of thin-walled blood vessels. Where is their place? They are located in the tissues and around the cell. So they are located within the tissues and around the cell. Let's take each one of them in details. Okay, first of all, the arteries, we said that they come out of the heart. When we say that they come out of the heart, so they come out of the 2 ventricles, as we took in the circulation. We said in the right ventricle comes out of it the pulmonary artery, and the left ventricle comes out of it the biggest artery, which is the aorta. And of course, because they start from the heart and end at the body cells, they begin very large and wide, ending with blood capillaries, which means that they become very thin. And of course, from what we took in the blood circulation, we know that all the arteries carry oxygen except only one artery, which is the pulmonary artery. And that's why when I came to say the difference between the arteries and the veins at the beginning, I can't say that the arteries carry oxygenated blood and that's it, because there is only one artery that carries deoxygenated blood, which is the pulmonary artery. Okay, let's take the veins. The veins are opposite to the arteries. They open. In the arteries, we said they emerge. They emerge means they come out from the 2 ventricles. But the veins, they open in the 2 atria. So they come from the cells into the heart. Where do they enter in the heart? They enter at the beginning in the atrium. So they open in the 2 atria. Of course, because they start at the tissues and the cells, so they will begin thin and small as blood capillaries, and then they will collect to end large in the heart. And it's also opposite to the arteries. All of them are deoxygenated except the pulmonary vein. So I have one exception in the artery and one exception in the vein. Pulmonary and pulmonary. In the arteries, all of them carry oxygen except the pulmonary artery. But in the veins, all of them carry carbon dioxide, which means they are deoxygenated except the pulmonary vein. The last one, which is the blood capillaries, as we said before, they are a network and they have thin walls. And if I ask, why do they have thin walls? Why their walls are not thick like arteries and veins? Because we said that the job of the blood capillaries is to give the cells the oxygen and take away carbon dioxide. So to be able to pass something from the blood capillary to the cells and from the cell to the blood capillary, I have to have a very thin wall to be able to pass it quickly and take the carbon dioxide quickly. So they have thin walls to allow the blood to pass the food and oxygen to the cell and carry away carbon dioxide and wastes easily. If its wall is thick, it will not allow these things to pass easily. So this is all about the blood vessels. We don't have any other types: arteries, veins, and blood capillaries as we took them. Let's start the last component of the circulatory system, which is the blood. And as we know, the blood is the liquid that moves inside our blood vessels. This liquid, as we said before, it acts like a taxi, which carries or transports the food and the oxygen to all the body cells, and also carries away the wastes and the carbon dioxide and so on. So it has many functions. Including in these functions is that the blood keeps the body temperature constant. What does this mean? It means that when the circulatory system is working properly in our body temperature will remain the same. It will remain constant, means it will remain the same. What does this mean? The human body temperature is always 37. Okay? It may be a little bit less or a little bit more, which means it can be 36.5, 37.2, that's it. But it can't be 38, 39, it's always 37. Whatever the temperature around me in the atmosphere is, it doesn't matter. My body from inside will remain 37. If we are in winter and it's very cold, also my body temperature will remain 37. If we are in summer and it's very hot and I am feeling that I'm melting, my body temperature from inside, it's 37. What keeps this body temperature constant or the same is the blood, and mainly it's the blood movement through the circulatory system. And this is the very important job for the blood. And as you can see in the picture, the blood consists of many things, several things. There are red things like circles, there are white things scattered, and there are tiny yellow things, and there is a yellow liquid between them. We are going to take each one of these in details. First of all, we said that we have blood consists of 4 things. Blood consists of how many things? 4 things. Number 1, it consists of red blood cells. Number 2, it consists of white blood cells. 3, blood platelets. 4, plasma. Again, it consists of red blood cells, white blood cells, blood platelets, and plasma. Okay, let's take them one by one. First of all, the red blood cells. They are red cells, as you can see in the picture. Their color is red, and they are without nuclei. If you can remember from Junior 4, we said that the cell has a boss in it, or the brain of the cell, if you can remember, and we called it nucleus. What makes the red blood cells different from all the body cells is that it doesn't have a nucleus. And that is the reason why, if you look at the picture, you will find that the red blood cell, it's a little bit similar to a donut. It's pressed from the middle. Why it's pressed like this, as if it's empty from the middle? Because it doesn't have a nucleus. So again, the red blood cells, they are red cells without nuclei. Nuclei is the plural of nucleus, okay? So they are red cells without nuclei. What is the job of the red blood cells inside the blood? As we said before, that the blood carries the food and the oxygen, right? Can I carry the food beside the oxygen? The food is a solid, as we know, and the oxygen is a gas. Can I carry them together? No. So the job of the red blood cells is only to carry the gases. It's a gas carrier. It carries the oxygen from the lungs to all the body cells and carries the carbon dioxide from body cells to the lungs. This is the only job of the red blood cells? Yes. It doesn't have any other job. It's only a carrier. Is it a carrier for the food and the gas? No. It's only carrier for the oxygen and the carbon dioxide. It can't carry food. It can't carry anything other than oxygen and carbon dioxide. Okay, so this is the red blood cells. Let's take number 2, which is the white blood cells. The white blood cells, from their name, their color is white, as you can see in the picture, and they are with nuclei like all the other cells. So this is the difference between the red blood cells and the white blood cells. They are with nuclei. They are white and with nuclei. What is the job of the white blood cells? They defend the body against microbes. What does this mean? This means that while I'm eating or while I'm talking with anyone, I can take a microbe, a bacteria, a virus, which are things that are harmful for my body, that enters my body to make me sick and feel tired and so on. God made inside our blood something called white blood cells. What do? They are like protectors inside my body. They protect my body against any microbe. Once a microbe or a virus or whatever enters my body, they come and fight it. They are like the armors of the body that fight anything that is coming to harm my body. Okay, so they defend the body against any microbe. This is their job. Number 3 is the blood platelets. What are the blood platelets? As you can see in the picture, they are tiny. They are much tinier than this. All the pictures, of course, we make it bigger. They are magnified. These cells can't be seen by the eye. Okay, even the blood platelets can't be seen by my eye. I have to see it under a microscope, which magnifies it, which makes it bigger. Okay, so these pictures are magnified to make you able to see the cells and how they look. So the blood platelets are similar to as if I took one cell and I cut it into small pieces. So they are small sized cell fragments. Cell fragments means cell pieces. As if I'm cutting a cell into very tiny pieces, this is how the blood platelets look. So they are small sized cell fragments. What is the job of the blood platelets? I want you to concentrate with me in this part. If you're playing with your friends and then you are running and then you fall down, you hit your knee, for example, and you get your knee cut, and then the blood will start to go down and you will just clean it and cover it with something, even for just a while, and then you will leave it. You will find the blood will stop, and even if you didn't put any medicine on it and you will leave it for just a day or 2 days, you will find there's a rough thing that is made or formed over this wound, the place where your body is wounded, where it's cut. You will find a rough surface. It's something red like this, and it makes a rough surface above the wound. And after several days, this rough surface will fall, and you will find your leg or the place where it was cut is returning normal. What makes this cut close like this and make this rough surface and then falls? What makes this cut to close or makes it to heal are the blood platelets. So what do? They make something like a network. By the way, what I'm explaining is not on you. I just want you to understand, to be able to know what does it do. So these blood platelets, once your body gets a cut or a wound in it, they collect in the place where the wound is, and they make something like a network which closes this wound. And when this wound closes this wound and collects the blood in it, the red blood cells that are passing starts to collect in this network to close the place where the wound is. And this is especially to protect the body from anything that can enter, like the microbes and disease, to prevent it from entering. And of course, when there is a wound, the first type of cells after the platelets that run to the place where the wound is are the white blood cells. Why? Because if there is any infection, which means any microbe or virus that's coming to enter the body from this cut, they collect in this part to defend the body against this microbe. So if I'm asking what is the job of the platelets, they coagulate, which means they collect together, they coagulate blood, forming something called this rough surface that is formed. We call it blood clot. Blood clot. So again, they coagulate, they collect the blood, forming blood clot when the body is wounded. Why does it do this? This prevents bleeding and infection of human body. This prevents my body from getting any infection, which means getting any microbe or virus into the body, and it prevents the bleeding, because when I lose a lot of blood, this is not good for my circulatory system and not good for my body. So when the blood coagulates, forming this blood clot, it prevents my body from losing too much blood. Okay, so these are the blood platelets. The last component of blood is the plasma. What is the plasma? As we said in the picture at the beginning of blood, we said that we have red blood cells, white blood cells, and platelets, and there was a yellow liquid that was moving between these things. This yellow liquid, I call it plasma. This yellow liquid, I call it plasma. So it is a yellow watery fluid. What does it do? The word fluid means liquid. What does it do, this yellow watery fluid? As you can see, it carries, of course, I have the red blood cells, the white blood cells, and the platelets. Can they move inside the blood vessels alone? Do they have legs? No, they don't have legs to move inside the blood vessels. Who carries all of these things is the plasma. So again, why do I have plasma, including the components of the blood? To carry the red blood cells, the white blood cells, the platelets, and also to carry the food and the wastes. So it carries, it's like a carrier for everything. It helps everything to move inside the blood vessel. So the function of it carries the food to the cells and the wastes formed in the cells away, and also it carries the red and white blood cells and the platelets. So it's a carrier for everything. Of course, there is a question that will come in your mind. If the plasma, which carries all of these things, which is the liquid that is moving, is yellow, why is my blood red in color, not yellow? My blood is red in color because the red blood cells are in millions inside my body. They are too many. So because they are darker from the plasma, because they are very red and they are too much, it appears that the blood is red, although it is yellow, but it appears red because it's filled with red blood cell. So their color becomes more common. That's why my blood is red, because it carries too much red blood cells. So again, the blood consists of 4 things: red blood cells, white blood cells, blood platelets, and plasma. The red blood cells are red cells without nuclei. What is their job? They are gas carriers. They carry the oxygen and the carbon dioxide. The white blood cells, they are white with nuclei. What is their function? They defend the body against microbes, so they protect my body against any harmful thing. Number 3 are the blood platelets. Their size is very small. They are small-sized cell fragments. What is their function? They coagulate blood, forming blood clot. Plasma, which is the last thing, it is a yellow watery fluid. What is the function of the plasma? It carries the food and the wastes, and also carries the red and white blood cells and the platelets. So it's a carrier for everything inside the blood. So like this, we finished the heart, the blood vessels, and the blood. Measuring our pulse. What is the pulse? The pulse is the number of your heart beats. What does this mean? I want you to start with me like this. Just try to count your heartbeats. Put your hand on your chest, or you can hold at your wrist like this and press hard. You will feel your heartbeats. There are certain places in your body or from your neck you can feel the beat of your heart. This beat, we call it pulse. Okay, so the pulse is the number of your heart beats. I want you to try with me to count while you are sitting in your place. Count your heartbeats. Count how much does your heart beat, let's say for example in 1 minute. Okay, just count it. And then run in the room and sit back and again count your heart beats. What will you feel? Is your heart beats while you are at rest the same as while you are running, or does it differ? Of course it differs. Of course it differs. When you are running, you will feel after you finish running that your heart is pumping or beating very quickly, much faster than it was beating while you were sitting at rest. This means that your heartbeat increases when you run. Why does it increase when we run? Why isn't it the same as we are at rest? Let's think together. We said before that when the heart beats or pumps, it pushes the blood to all body cells. Why does it go to all body cells? It goes to all body cells, or it pushes the blood to all body cells to give the cells oxygen and food, right? Okay. When I run, this means that my body needs more energy. This means that my cells need more energy. And when my cell needs more energy, this means that they need more oxygen and more food, because as we know, the food and the oxygen are the things that give me energy. So when I start running, my cells are active, and when they are active, they need energy. So the heart will start to pump faster, to pass the blood much quicker. Why? To give the cells more oxygen and more food. So again, your heart beats faster when you run. Why is this? This is because your body will need more oxygen. Why does it need more oxygen? Because I need to burn the food that enters the cell. So I need to give the cell more food with more oxygen to be able to burn it much quicker. Why? To get the energy. Again, why does my heart beat faster when I run? This is because your body will need more oxygen. Why does it need more oxygen? To burn more food inside the cell to get more energy. By the way, the oxygen burns the food inside the cell. It's as if we are cooking the food inside the cell. When the food enters inside the cell can't use this food as energy. So it has to burn it by using the oxygen gas to give it energy. And that's why I need more oxygen, and that's why my heart beats faster, to pass the blood much quicker to the cells to be able to burn more food to get more energy. This is all about what is a heartbeat, or what is a heart pulse, and why does it increase when I run. How to keep the circulatory system healthy. We have 6 points. We know that any system in the body that we take, we have to know at the end of the lesson how should I keep the system healthy, because this is very important for my body. Number 1, we should keep exercising. Why should I keep exercising? Because this makes my heart muscle stronger, so it strengthens the heart muscle. Strengthens means makes it stronger, okay? Because this strengthens the heart muscle and activates the blood circulation. This means that the blood circulation becomes more active when you run, and that's why we say, when you keep exercising in general, it's not only running. And that's why we say when you wake up in the morning, just do some exercises to activate your blood circulation. This makes you feel more healthy and more active, okay? And then number 2, you should eat healthy and balanced food, low in fat and salt. We should eat food very low in fat and in salt, because the salt is very dangerous for us when it increases. طبعا الطبيعي ان احنا بناكل اكل فيه ملح، اوكي؟ بس مش طبيعي ان احنا نزود الملح زيادة عن اللزوم. ليه؟ لان الملح لما بيزيد البلاد بريشر جوه البلاد فيسلز بتزيد، يعني جوه الارتريز والفينز the blood that is moving it moves faster. moving faster ده باستمرار ده خطر على الجسم. احنا قلنا ان هو بيتحرك اسرع لما ببقى بعمل اكسرسايز او بجري، لكن في حاله الرست لو انا قاعده كده على الكرسي ما بعملش حاجه وقلبي برضو بيدق بسرعه ودمي بيمشي بسرعه جدا في البلاد فيسلز، ده خطر جدا على الجسم وله تفاصيل كتير مش هندخل فيها. تاني حاجة الفاتس، احنا عارفين ان الفاتس خطر جدا. هتقولوا لي اصل يا مس عشان الفاتس بتطخن. مش فكرة بس ان الفاتس بتطخن، الفاتس when it increases in the body it sits in the arteries، يعني بتفضل تتكوم جوه الارتري، وطبيعي جدا ان هي لما تتكوم جوه الارتري تفضل قاعدة جوه الارتري كده. الارتري بعد شوية هيحصل لها ايه؟ لما افضل اكل فاتس والفاتس تتكوم جوه الارتري وفاتس كمان وتتكوم جوه الارتري and another fats and they accumulate يعني بتتكون جوه الارتري، هيحصل ايه في الارتري بعد شويه؟ هيحصل جواها بلوك، تمام؟ وده اللي بيعمل الهارت اتاكس عند الناس اللي هي بتاكل فاتس كتير، لان بعد شويه الارتري بتقفل، ولو الارتري قفلت الدم مش هيعرف يمشي، فبالتالي بيجي الدم ويقف، فالسيركيوليشن هتتقطع، فطبيعي ان لما السيركيوليشن تتقطع كل حاجه في الجسم هتقف. and that's why I should eat healthy and balanced food. And this doesn't mean that we don't eat fat and we don't eat salt. No, we eat food that have salt, but normal salt, not too many. And we eat food that has fat because the fat gives me a lot of energy, but with low amounts. Okay, number 3, we should eat more fruits and vegetables that should be fresh and clean. We should eat more fruits and vegetables that should be fresh and clean. Number 4, we should drink enough amount of clean water every day, especially in the summer. Drinking many water cleans the blood. It's like cleaning the blood, and this we are going to take it in details in the urinary system. عشان كده احنا لازم نشرب ميه كتير، لان ده بيعتبر كأنه حاجة بتنظف الدم كده بتاعنا. تمام. و especially in summer عشان احنا in summer we sweat too much. sweat معناها بنعرق. Okay, so we sweat too much. Sweating too much makes me lose water, so I need much more water in the summer. نيجي number 5, avoid exposure to infection and accidents when wounded. Try your best to stop bleeding. This means that if you made an accident، بعد الشر على الكل طبعا، يعني لو حد عمل accident and he's losing blood، accident بقى باي كار، accident اتخبط بحاجة، اتخبط في حد، وقع، اتعور، whatever اللي حصل، اي accident فيها تعوير للجسم او فتحة في الجسم بتنزل دم، losing blood, this is very dangerous, so I have to stop the bleeding very quickly. And the other thing, I should close this wound، الجرح ده المفروض اقفله كويس to prevent infection from entering، عشان امنع ان اي فيروس او infection او ميكروب ان هو يدخل الجسم. بس انت يا مس قايله لنا ان الجسم فيه platelets بتقفل الجرح. هي هتقفل، بس لو الجرح كبير هي مش هتلاحق لوحدها انها تقفل، فانا المفروض اني بساعدها. بلس ان انا عندي اكيد white blood cells بتعمل defend للجسم against الميكروبز و against الديزيزز و against الحاجات دي، صح؟ بس برضو المفروض ان انا اساعد الجسم ان انا امنعه ان هو يتعرض اصلا لحاجة زي كده. لو دخلت حاجة خلاص وربنا قدر انها تدخل، عندي defending system جوه اللي هو الوايت بلاد سيلز، يعني السيلز دي بتدافع عني، بس في نفس الوقت I try to decrease the probability ان يدخل لي اي infection. تمام. يبقى avoid exposure to infection and accidents when wounded. Try your best to stop bleeding. نيجي number 6 وهي اخر حاجة to keep the circulatory system healthy، هي avoid smoking and cigarette smokers. avoid smoking and cigarette smokers. why؟ عشان السموكينج ده بيأثر على اللونجز بتاعتي، وانا عارفة ان اللونجز هي اللي بتدخل الاكسجين وهي اللي بتطلع الكربون دايوكسيد. فلو انا بدخن او قاعدة مع حد بيدخن، انا برضو بتأثر باللي هو بيدخنه ده. تمام. يعني smoke of cigarettes that's coming out of someone who is smoking beside me, it also harms me as well. يعني زي ما هي بتضره هو بيضرني انا كمان. تمام. فاحنا طبعا لما يبقى البني ادم يعني whatever بيشرب smoking او cigarettes، ده بيعمل harm للهارت muscle، بيأذي الهارت muscle، وبيخلي البلاد circulation very weak. طب ليه very weak؟ لان الريد بلاد سيلز مش لاقي اكسجين تشيله، كمية الاكسجين اللي بتدخل بتبقى اقل، وكمية الكربون دايوكسيد اللي بتطلع بتبقى اضعف. الجسم كله in general بيتضر. اساس الضرر ده بيبقى في اللونجز، بس كمان بيأثر على البلاد سيركيوليشن، لان احنا عارفين ان البلاد سيركيوليشن مرتبط بالاكسجين وبالكربون دايوكسيد اللي بيدخل وبيخرج من اللونجز. يبقى دي كانت number 6. avoid smoking and cigarette smokers. give reason why: because smoking harms the heart and weakens the blood circulation. I wish you understood the lesson, and thank you. I hope you will